Hendrick Motorsports ends their relationship with Hooters, Carson Hocevar may be headed to the penalty box, and my latest power rankings are ready to rock and roll after Nashville. How's it going, y'all? My name is Eric. Welcome to Out of the Groove. I've cooled off a bit since getting home from Nashville Super Speedway. Before we get started, this episode is sponsored by Vanderhagen. Vanderhagen is a leading safety razor brand that offers a range of products for shaving and male grooming. Vanderhagen helps you get a closer shave. One-blade razors are scientifically proven to get a closer shave than multi-count blade cartridges. And take it from me, their stuff is great for folks with sensitive skin. Tune in to NBC this Saturday to watch Daniel Suarez race the Vanderhagen Chevrolet in the Xfinity Series race at the Chicago Street Course. To check out all that Vanderhagen has to offer, click the link down in the description below or head to vanderhagen.com. Thank you to Vanderhagen for sponsoring the show. It's going to be nice seeing a bright orange race car on track this weekend. Those cars always pop, especially considering we're losing a bright orange paint scheme in the Cup Series. Let's start there. Kelly Crandall, writing for Racer.com, reports today that Hendrick Motorsports has ended their relationship with Hooters. A lot of folks at the track this weekend noticed that the Hooters logo was suspiciously absent from Chase Elliott's number 9 car, wasn't even seen on the quarter panels or anything like that. Logos weren't on the pit box either. Today it was confirmed this was Hendrick Motorsports' statement. Quote, Hooters has been a valued partner of Hendrick since 2017, contributing to our shared successes both on and off the racetrack. In recent months, however, Hooters has not been able to meet its business obligations to our organization. Due to these unfortunate and unexpected circumstances, and despite extensive efforts on both sides to identify a workable solution, it became necessary for Hendrick to end the relationship. Oof, so basically Hooters had stopped paying their bills. It's noted in this Racer.com report, which I will link down in the description below, but recently it came out that Hooters is closing like 40-something stores across America. Business, unfortunately, is not booming for the iconic American restaurant chain. The Hooters colors have become iconic in NASCAR over the years, going back to Alan Kulwicki in the 90s. I remember Brett Bodine, Chase Elliott, of course, most recently. Chase Elliott won at Texas in April in the Hooters colors, breaking the infamous Hooters curse. Hooters hadn't won a NASCAR Cup Series race as a primary in 30-something years, since Alan Kulwicki, I think in 92. Knowing now that Hooters and Hendrick have parted ways just makes Elliott's post-race celebration back in April all the more special. Good tribute to Alan Kulwicki, the Hooters connection, of course, being there. It's a shame, because the Hooters paint schemes have long been fan favorites. Now, at least for the time being, they're out of the sport. That's a shame. Moving on, we've got power rankings on deck, but first, we brought this segment back a couple weeks ago. It's time to take some of your comments from Out of the Crowd. Late last night, I uploaded my post-race reaction and analysis to the Nashville Super Speedway Cup Series race, and is there such a thing as getting ratioed on YouTube? But we may have just accomplished it. Over 1,000 comments, and it hasn't even been close to 24 hours. I was not the biggest fan of how last night's race played out. 5 overtimes, it's historic. But is it historic for the right reasons? I said in the video that I knew fans would be split, and based on reading these comments, it feels about 50-50. About 50-50 thought the race was a joke, a clown show, and the other 50% said it was wildly entertaining. I see merit to both sides of the argument. Every week I share what I believe is a good race, but everyone's subjective opinion is going to be different. The first comment, coming from Out of the Crowd, actually touches on something I forgot to mention last night. From Citizen of the Year CC, another big controversy was Carson Hocevar spinning Harrison Burton out under yellow, and NASCAR somehow did not penalize him. Yes, this is completely on me. I had so much to go over last night. Forgot to mention this bit of drama. According to Bob Pockrass of Fox Sports, NASCAR is taking a look at this incident. We'll know if any penalties get issued either tomorrow or Wednesday. As for the incident itself, this is after the Chastain-Larson crash down the back straightaway. Ooh, the 77 appears to spin the 21 towards the outside wall. No serious contact here, no serious damage to either car, but yeah, that kind of looked like a right rear hook, which NASCAR has established is a no-no. Yeah, I guess I'm honestly a little surprised it took nearly 6 months for the old Carson Hocevar to rear his ugly head during the Sunday show. I've honestly been very impressed with Hocevar's maturity this year. He's shown a lot of restraint, Not here. Hocevar does have a history of funny business. He's right-reared Colby Howard at IRP before, faced no discipline. NASCAR missed that call, in my opinion. He's also, spun himself out trying to draw a caution. Go back to Phoenix last year, the incidents with Corey Heim. Knowing that history, especially, NASCAR should be taking a look at this. I go back almost 2 years ago to Texas Motor Speedway. William Byron spun Denny Hamlin out under caution and was docked 25 points and fined $50,000. I would expect a similar penalty for Carson Hocevar. I don't think he gets suspended. Sure, it's a right rear, but it wasn't at super high speeds. It wasn't in the dog leg. Burton didn't even hit the wall. I mean, it's not good. It's bad. Should absolutely face a penalty, but a suspension would be overdoing it. 25 points, a fine. That's what I expect. The only way Carson wiggles himself out of this one is if NASCAR can find conclusive SMT evidence of Harrison Burton brake checking him. Over the radio, Hocevar said that's what the 21 did, but I don't know. The 77 radio was kind of sus during that whole sequence, so we'll see what happens. Our next comment coming from out of the crowd has to do with the eventual race winner. This comment comes from Painfully Average Gamer, and they said, okay, look, you can say Logano had it fall to him. No, he stayed clean despite being nearly wrecked twice. He had one of the best long-run cars too. Heck, after lap 188, he never ran outside the top 20. Sure, he wasn't the fastest, but his car was fast enough to get the job done. I picked this comment out, but I got many comments saying I was too hard on Joey Logano, or more that I didn't give him enough credit for the win. And that's fair, although I did give his crew chief Paul Wolfe quite a bit of credit for aggressive strategy in stage 1, stage 2, flipping that stage to get track position. And then again during the caution with 80 to go, pitting for 2 tires worked in their favor. I did give Paul Wolfe quite a bit of credit. I'll say this about Joey Logano, he somehow saved fuel better than everyone else, and he did keep his nose clean. The point I was making yesterday is that the 22 wasn't a top 5 car, may not have even been a top 10 car. Paul Wolfe was aggressive, Joey Logano executed well, but ultimately the 22 wouldn't have had a chance at racing for the win if it weren't for a very specific, very fortunate sequence of events. That is to say, while this win is great for Logano big picture locking into the playoffs, it's clear that the 22 and all of Team Penske still has work to do finding more speed at these intermediate ovals. That's what I was trying to say yesterday. What we learned watching the race didn't match up with the finishing results. That's all. I get a lot of comments of people accusing me of hating Joey Logano, and I think people say that because they see all the Matt Kenseth stuff behind me and they assume I'm stuck in 2015. Yeah, in 2015 when I was in high school, I didn't like Joey Logano very much, but nowadays, and for many years now, I'd say I'm very indifferent. I'm not trying to be a Joey Logano hater. I was just in a bad mood last night. Race ran long, I was hot, sweaty, it was really humid out there. I've caught my breath since then. Oh, and real quick, before we move on, did you see the news today that Joey Logano is replacing Hailie Deegan in the AM Racing number 15 this Saturday at Chicago? Woo! Hey, I think this is a good move for both parties. AM Racing has obviously struggled this year with Hailie Deegan. You get to bring in a quality championship driver, take notes. And for Joey Logano, you get some extra laps at a brand new racetrack. So that's good. That's great. Win-win. Win-win. Lose, I guess, for Hailie Deegan. Ugh. Anyway, thank you all for leaving your comments, even the ones I don't agree with. I do enjoy reading everything y'all have to say. It's always fun to keep that conversation open. Let's wrap things up with my Out of the Groove power rankings. Every week, I rank the top 10 fastest overall drivers and teams in the NASCAR Cup Series. Let's check it out. Ross Chastain deserves an honorable mention. He overcame an early equipment interference penalty to contend for the win. At worst, he was going to probably finish second before the overtime outbreak, and then of course he got crashed. Chastain has consistently shown top 10 speed the past few weeks, but I've got Joey Logano at number 10, not just to prove a point, but because Logano and Team Penske are surging. Logano gets his first win. Really, it's a second win if you include the All-Star race win. It's not a points-paying win, but still a big deal. Joey Logano has finished 6th or better in 3 of the last 5 races. Team Penske has won 4 races going back to the All-Star race in mid-May. I'm really curious to see how Joey performs at tracks like Indy, Pocono, Michigan coming up, bigger tracks. That's been their weakness this season. Let's see if Paul Wolfe can help figure it out. I'll put Ryan Blaney in the number 9 spot. He didn't have enough fuel to make it to the finish, had to pit before all the overtimes broke out. I think he was even caught up in one of the overtime incidents, yet still battled back to get a top 10 finish. Ryan Blaney been very good. Again, Team Penske starting to peak midway through the season. It's hard not to be positive about Penske, the way they've run in recent weeks. Logano at 10, Blaney at 9, Martin Truex Jr. holding on to the number 8 spot. Once again, the Toyota driver had top 10, top 5 speed on Sunday, but he was one of those drivers who was bit by the overabundance of overtime restarts, had to pit for fuel. Martin Truex Jr. is the only driver in my top 10 power rankings this week without a win on the season, but he's still top 5 in the regular season standings. I got Truex at 8. At number 7, I have William Byron. What's going on here? He only has 1 top 10 finish the past 5 races, and he hasn't led a single lap during that span. And what's crazy is he's qualifying super well. He's been 6th, 3rd, 4th, 7th the last few races. He's just not getting the finishes for one reason or another. William Byron at 7. Moving back up 1 spot this week to the number 6 position is the driver of the 6, Brad Keselowski. I know he finished bad, but Brad Keselowski had top 5 speed all day long, earned 12 stage points. Who is at fault in the Austin Dillon crash? It's hard to say, but it sucks that ruined an otherwise outstanding performance. I'll be really curious, like with Joey, to see how Brad does these next few weeks. He's still looking for his first road course top 10 in actually over 2 years. How will he do at Chicago? And just like other Fords, how will they do at the bigger ovals coming up? I'm curious. Top 5, Tyler Reddick. Started 6th at Nashville, finished 3rd, moved up to 4th in the regular season standings. They played things more conservative. Right before the first overtime, they pit for fuel and for tires. That wound up working out well for them. Because of those 5 overtimes, they were able to slowly but surely gain their track position, dodge the wrecks, and on that final overtime, Reddick was charging. Came really close to stealing the win in the final corner. Tyler Reddick, most top 10s in the NASCAR Cup Series this year. I got him at number 5. At number 4, Chase Elliott. Spoiler alert, there aren't a ton of dramatic changes inside of my top 10 this week. Like I said last night, we didn't learn a whole lot from Nashville. Chase Elliott's another driver where the finish does not indicate how fast he was. He finished 18th for the 2nd straight week, but had top 10 speed. You don't see Chase Elliott just snap loose and spin out very often, so I'm going to put that aside for now. Yeah, spoiler alert, my top 3 have not changed. Denny Hamlin is still holding down the bronze medal position. Looked like his race to lose, ran down and passed Ross Chastain with just a few laps to go. And then overtime. So this is the thanks I get for working overtime. Didn't save quite as much fuel as Joey Logano, apparently. Maybe it's a Ford versus Toyota thing, but you can't really fault Hamlin and Chris Gabehart. It's hard to prepare for 5 overtime attempts. Never been done before. Couldn't see that one coming, so yeah, just didn't have enough fuel to get to the finish. But I still have Denny Hamlin at 3. He's super fast every week, regardless of track type. And Christopher Bell comes in at number 2 once more, red hot. He now has the most stage wins in the NASCAR Cup Series this season, but the moment he got stuck back in traffic, he got over aggressive, slipped, and crashed. When Christopher Bell isn't stepping over the edge this season, he's bad fast at almost every track. He's led 80 or more laps in 4 of the last 6 races. Very impressive stuff from Team 20, and at number 1, I've still got Kyle Larson. He extended his regular season points lead. He's now plus 20, breaks the tie he had with Elliott. Nashville was a race where, despite all of the chaos, much of which Kyle Larson himself helped cause, Larson still wound up with a good finish, somehow, someway. Still finished 8th. It's just what he does, more times than not. Kyle Larson holds on to the number 1 spot in my power rankings. Let me know down in the comments section below if you agree or disagree with any of my top 10 picks. The list of honorable mentions could go on for a while, not just Ross Chastain, but thanks for watching this video, y'all. Leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe for more NASCAR content every single day here on Out of the Groove. A big thank you to my very generous Patreon supporters. I appreciate you all watching. Thanks for sticking with me. I will see you in the next episode, y'all. Take care.